Well, we're live on one camera already, which is nice, and we can get that going. And Carla Vaughn, back by popular demand, and it's really nice to see you back in the studio. We're on one camera, but we're going to be on the other camera here shortly, and we are live.
Okay, so which camera should I be looking at?
We're on both of them.
You are on both of them, okay.
We're on both.
All right, great.
And so right now we're going to shut down this music.
Or we're going to get up and dance, one of the two.
Oh, yes, that's what we like to do here. You know, I like what you say about dancing because that's so much fun to dance. I love to dance.
You know, I actually went out to a club for like the first time in
7,000 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's me.
Only because my neighbor friend wanted to see the Oasis Club.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice place.
Yes, it was a very nice club. But what was interesting was how many people weren't dancing. And all it did was remind me that in my 20s, that's all I wanted to do.
And that's what used to go on in all the dance clubs, is all this dancing going on. And everybody loved to go out, get dressed up. It's Friday night, Saturday night, you deck out, go buy your single threads for the evening or whatever, and go out to one of the clubs. And there'd always be the one guy trying to ask you to dance. You didn't want that one, you want the other guy.
That's right.
Or vice versa. You try to go ask this one chick to dance, and she would never want to dance with you. You know, she'd always say, no, thank you. And then in the end, she'd always say, you want to dance? No, thank you. No, it ain't that bad.
Well, it was a great reminder of, like, the joy of my youth. And I think everyone should enjoy their youth. Just like when you start a business, you should enjoy the startup process. It's like that beginning, that excitement, and that, whoo, okay, I have arrived at the party. And then it's like, but now what do I do, kind of thing. And that's what WOW is really about. It's for the startup business owners and for those in the growth phase, trying still to figure out a little bit about what's the dance step should I be doing right now? Which club should I go to?
And if you go back, you remember some of the dances that were out. Remember some of them?
Okay, one of the ones I remember that was really fun at first and got scary was the bump. Okay.
Yeah, do the bump, baby.
Then we started making songs around that.
And everybody bumping the booty, and it's like. And sometimes when you'd be out on the dance floor, some of the chicks or the guys would bump you on purpose to see if you're checking it out. You know, it's like, it's wild. Yeah, it's funny you say that because it brings back memories.
It does. So I want to talk about stories today, if that's okay with you, Henry.
Of course, let's go for it. Now, I did put up a little ad up there about taxes, so we want to go over that too because it's tax season, and WOW always helps the small businesses and either setting up your business for taxation, as well as if you're in a small business already running and rolling, of course.
Yeah.
Carla can help you out.
We do tax preparation for high net worth individuals, but also for corporations, partnerships, nonprofits, and it's always, for us, it's our fun time of year, if you can believe that. It's our time to get out and go dance, but we dance with the numbers. So that's on the accounting side of my business. That's business and financial management services. You can find us on Yelp. You can find us on the web. And we do bookkeeping, taxes, and payroll. That's our core services.
Yes.
So that's part of how WOW, though, kind of got going. It was the 20 years I went to build this business, this accounting business of mine, and all the trials and tribulations. And I mean, definite trials and tribulations. It was stepping on toes and people stepping on mine. But I got through the dance okay, and my company survived. So you know what a lot of people don't realize is that, you know, when you're starting a business, it's almost like a courtship, okay? It's getting familiar with the dance, truly. So that first 1 to 3 years is really, really important for a small business owner. So wowforsmallbusinesses.com, when you go to the website, you can look around, and definitely we address some of those things. We don't want to just inspire you, but like failure leads to success. I can't tell you all the failings I had growing my accounting business. But I mean, there was one time in particular I was like, maybe I should go out of business. And no sooner did I think that I was going to fail, phone would ring, or I would get a referral. Yeah, and I'd be back in business. So things like failure leads to success is real important. So wowforsmallbusinesses.com will give you an insight if you choose that webinar. So one thing, like I said, I want to kind of talk about is a little bit on stories and how stories shape our lives and shape our experiences and help us to remember both the good and the bad. And hopefully some of the bad will circle back around for you to realize that that terrible thing that happened with you and your business really wasn't so terrible. It was a growing moment.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, failure does lead to success in a lot of ways because you think, oh man, and actually it's leading you somewhere else. And sometimes that failure will lead you to something so good, so great that you think, wow, I'm glad that happened. It's like you go through these situations that can really change your life.
You know what I encourage everybody to do is look up Elon Musk, look up Bill Gates, look up Zuckerman, the head of Facebook. Look up some of these really famous, look up Oprah Winfrey, okay? Look up Samuel Jackson. Look up anybody who you see on TV or is your idol or you really like as an actor or actress, whatever. And read a little bit about their life story. So many people, I think, and I don't quote me for sure, but I think it was Paul Newman or one of them, what I call pretty boys.
I do too. I say the same thing. It's wild.
Started off busting tables, okay? When he was, very young. And you'll find that a lot of things that we have to do sometimes to get into business, to pursue our passion, are humbling experiences, very humbling experiences. So, talk about stories. I was talking to my friend that we went out to the club the other night, and I was talking to him about that youth thing and what have you, and we were just having a conversation. And he said something to me that made something pop in my head. And I can't remember his exact words, but it was all about what he couldn't do and what he wouldn't do and what he found impossible to do. And it wasn't anything big. And it made me think about limiting beliefs. Do you know what those are?
I don't. When you say limiting beliefs, what would that be like?
So limiting beliefs are the things that we tell ourselves that prevent us from growing, okay, or changing. So those are the things like, I'll give you one of my limiting beliefs, because I've had a few. One of my limiting beliefs was that I couldn't possibly go whitewater rafting by myself, that it was not going to be particularly fun if I went by myself.
Did you wear a helmet and stuff when you do that?
Yes.
You have to be. You hit your head on a rock, it's over.
It's over. It is so over.
Go dragging behind it, boom, 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 boom. What happened to her head? It's back there.
And I realized I didn't have anyone to go with. I was single and not dating anyone. And I started thinking, well, you know what? If I continue to think that I can't go whitewater rafting unless I go with a gal pal or a boyfriend or guy friend or something, that it just won't be a good experience, then I'll never know. So I decided I was going to stop that limiting belief. And this is something very innocuous, so very, very mild, not that there aren't bigger limiting beliefs. And I went. And I had the time of my life.
Laughing and enjoying and water on you and everything, hanging on for dear life. I bet your knuckles were red.
Well, that was the first time I went in. I was seriously strapped in, but okay, so I'm one of these people, those of you who don't know me and those of you who do know me, I pretend that I'm super brave. And I just go for things, just for the experience, yeah. And so that first experience, I said I'm going to be in the front of the raft.
Oh my gosh!
And they put me in front of the raft.
Oh my gosh!
And the tour.
Where's it buck the most at? In the front?
I think it does.
Yeah,
I think
it seems like it would lift you up and lift you up. And, well, the back side too, the front and the back. The middle wouldn't be as bad because you're following it, but.
Have you ever been rafting?
No, it just...
You got to go.
No way.
No way. And so they said, well, have you ever been rafting before? I was like, oh, no. And so, you sure you want to be in the front? And I was like, oh, yes.
Did you really?
Yes, and I've got pictures to prove it. And it was
How'd you get
great.
pictures? GoPro or something?
The tour company that
They
does the
have
rafting,
the GoPros up
they have that, and then they have like people along the
Just-
rafting, the river channel,
Okay.
that will take pictures.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and then when you get back from the tour, you have a choice of like, I don't know, a dozen pictures, and you don't even know you've been photographed.
That's that cool.
But it was great, and it just was really freeing to get over that limiting belief. You know,
that
it really
you-
was. Yeah, because it was like I had a good time. No one had to be with me. I could be sociable enough to get to know people
How many
who are
people-
in the raft with me.
Yeah, how many people ride in there?
6.
Oh, that's not very many people.
No, but that was enough.
It's a pretty big raft.
It's a nice size, yeah.
Now, is it real nice and thick to where
Yes.
the rocks won't cut it up or nothing?
Yes, absolutely. These people are experts.
They know how to ride.
Of course, you sign a
A
waiver.
waiver.
Yeah, this is if you die,
break your head open.
your family
who's
won't
next
sue
of-
us.
Who's
Yeah.
your next of kin?
Absolutely.
What was the roughest part?
Okay, for my first trip, it was, they didn't do it the second time I went, but the first trip, they stopped at a certain part, and I forgot, it was like a rust period, and there was this huge rock, and they had the ropes coming
my
down,
gosh.
and you had to climb up the rock and then jump over into the water.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do that because I'm kind of scared of heights. And I was
Oh
like,
my
and I was
gosh.
like, no, I'm going to do it. No, I'm going to do it. And I'm watching this like 15-year-old kid from another raft like climb up and stuff.
No sweat.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, and then he gets at the top and he's like, I want to. And I'm like, that's going to be me. I'm sure that's going to be
Oh my
me. And I kept
gosh,
saying,
Carla.
and they're going around the boat. Are you getting out? Are you going to jump off this
Do they give
rock?
do they give you the opportunity to bail?
Yeah, they can. You don't have to.
Yeah,
It's
they-
totally
They
optional.
won't. They wasn't get in there and
No,
you
none of
pay.
that.
No.
No.
You want to get out? Go on. Who cares?
And then I said, okay, I'm physically fit. I can do that.
Now is it 2, 2, and 2, or 3 and 3?
2, 2, and 2.
That's what I figured. Two in the front, 2 in the middle,
Yeah.
2 in the back. So that
Mhm.
we can.
Yeah, so everything's
balanced.
balanced.
Mhm.
So anyway, so I decided I was going to do the rock climb and jump off the top of the rock. So first of all, I'm trying to climb this rock, and I was like, I may not be as physically fit as I think I am. Okay, that was the first thought. And I was
Oh,
like,
my
oh, wait a minute.
gosh.
I just kept thinking, I just saw this 15-year-old. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I don't care how old I am. I'm
Oh,
going
my
to do this.
gosh.
And climbed up, and I get to the top, and I thought the same thing he did, which was, oh, no,
I'm not doing
I
it.
am not jumping off this rock.
How was it?
If you can
20,
imagine,
25 feet?
I'm really bad about height. Maybe it was 25 to 30 feet. It was pretty tall.
That's a high.
Like if
People say 20, 25 feet. They don't think once you're up there and you look down.
it's
that's
a
long,
different
feel.
perspective.
Mhm.
And you should think about this with your business. You get to a certain point, and the vision you have for your business is a scary one sometimes.
Yes, it really gets to be like, whoa, where are we going with this?
Absolutely.
And I like the way you said on some of the other streams that we've had up here, and you said this perfectly. Pay yourself first, because that's what gives you that feeling that you're doing something for yourself, like you said.
It's a psychological thing.
Yeah, if you keep going and going and going and paying everybody else everything,
Mhm.
and you feel like there's nothing for you, like even $2.
It creates, and that's what I told one of the gals who I was, I'm still training her. She's got one more session. Nicest woman. And she says, you can see I don't make that much money. I said, it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm.
It is the activity. I
Yes.
said, write yourself a check for $25
Yes.
every week.
Yeah.
You make these awesome sweets, and you make everyone else
Yes.
happy. And I know that you've got your bottom line every month isn't that much money for profit. You can afford $25 to
For
yourself
yourself,
every
yes.
week.
And that's what I
And
like
it's a
about it.
starting point.
That's real, though. That's real, because I've always learned that. That was one point I did learn. Always pay yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what. Even if you give yourself, like I said, $20, 15, 20, 100, whatever it is, and sock it away if you want, if you don't want to spend it or whatever. You're
That's
still
right.
paying yourself.
That's right.
And that's in the line item.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like the whole limiting belief stuff, that's where a lot of entrepreneurs, Henry, get stuck. They're like, oh, I only made $1,000 this month. I couldn't possibly pay myself. And I'm like, why? Yeah. Why are you saying no to yourself?
Yeah.
So limiting beliefs is all about just that. You're saying no to yourself before you even have the experience, because you're allowing fear, false evidence appearing real, to take hold. And limiting beliefs is so stuck up into the whole fear mode.
And Carla, wouldn't you say this too? Now, there's a lot of individuals who will start making all this money and think there's no bottom line or no end to them spending it on themselves. They'll go buy cars and all this, that, clothes, and not really take a look at to see what they're actually doing, and spend too much, and then they get a lean month. Oh, I'm out of money. What happened?
Yes.
They don't.
Yes.
And what was the? We talked about this. It's 3 months or 5 months, 6 months.
When you're personally, your personal finances, you should have 3 to 6 months of basic expenses, yeah, for your emergency fund. But as a business, you have to plan longer term. So you have a minimum of 6 to 12 months max to cover your business in the event of low sales, no sales, or whatever. And this is what I have brought home a lot under my Financial Literacy First organization. Think of how individuals and businesses could have survived had they had that backup.
Business planning is critical, and a lot of people, like I said, I learned that too right away up front. You got to put some away, and there's also the taxation part of it. Is you're gonna, like, if you're gonna pay the government, you got to pay your taxes. You always do what is that called, where you send in some to the government, like
estimated tax payments.
Estimated tax payment. A lot of people don't do that. They'll wait to the end. Now you said they've got a change in that.
They do. IRS is really coming down hard on entrepreneurs that are required to file estimated tax payments that don't. Where typically in the past, it's like, you file your taxes.
Yeah.
Here comes January, February, you owe $5,000. You just take it out the bank, pay them, and you think everything's good. I've got one client, they're like a bulldog with him for some reason, and he pays his tax liability every year. He's an engineer, he does well, but I've told him in the past, you got to pay estimated taxes, got to pay them. And now they're fining him for not paying estimated taxes.
That's great. Yeah, that's the thing. They're always looking for avenues of revenue to get you with, and then if you don't pay it, then they charge you late fee. They charge you interest and interest on late fee for charging.
Complicated.
They have about these 7 different names of the same thing. Just give us extra money.
That's exactly what it is. It's different names for the same thing, which is give us money.
Yeah, more.
Yeah. More.
And by those 3, 4, 5 names they give it, like filing late charges for filing late, filing late charges for, and the interest for the filing late and late charges.
Let's not forget the penalties. Okay. Penalties go along with that interest, people.
Oh yeah, penalties, interest on paying late payment fee. It's I mean, to me, whoever created this IRS back in 1913, they knew that they were going to really suck it to the public. They created the Anti-Defamation League, and they created all this stuff, and the banks run you, and they created this IRS thing.
Yes, they did.
Because there never used to be a income tax thing. That's just something that was created a long time ago, and they got a stronghold on it. They call it the Federal Reserve.
And I said they realized they could make money off the public.
Yeah, off nothing. Off nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You made some money, now just give us some of that.
Well, the thing is that, and I don't want to get political, but the new legislation keeps trying to dip into the pockets of entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Okay. So
because they know, they look at it this way, and let's see if you see it the same way I do. Like, entrepreneurs, they know are dealing with cash and a lot of money flow in different ways.
That's correct.
They look at that like, let's just see if we can get our hands in there.
Correct. They unfortunately, this bill failed, but this was up recently where if you made, I think it was made, not paid, $600 or more, that they could go into your bank account and your business bank account and assess all your transactions to determine taxation.
Yes, and see, this is the thing. They have that ability just to
They
press a button, just go
do.
right in. That's where the Federal Reserve thing comes
They
in.
do, and it's awful.
It's, why do they call it federal? It's not Federal Reserve. It's nothing federal about it. It's private banks that have a hold on the IRS name to reach into anywhere, take your car, your house, reach into your bank account. Oh,
Right.
sorry, we're going to charge you. And it's
Right.
like, and then they put a squeeze on you to where they almost
Right.
take you out of business.
And you know, that whole fear
Hmm.
goes back to the limiting beliefs that we as business owners get into.
Yes.
So, you know, one of the things I always tell my my clients is, okay, you can do this the right way, and IRS and everybody else will be off your back. You'll never have to worry about anything. You could do it the right way, but bend things a little. Just know if you get caught, this is going to be the consequence. Or you can do the things that you want financially for your business the way you want, and I probably won't work with you because you're just you're just deviant and going to lie constantly. But there might actually come a time where the government will overlap to small business owners and their accounts. I personally am hoping that really doesn't take place. You're going to complicate an already muddied system. There's going to be a whole lot more in terms of IRS looking into your life. But again, you know, one of the things, one of my webinars, and I can't remember quite the name of it, but I think it's about the relationship with you. And that relationship with you talks about you being genuine, okay? What truths are you telling yourselves, and what are you going to live by for your standards, okay, for being a business owner?
Your goals, objectives, and what you have in mind for a business owner, right? So you
Yeah,
gotta
it's
have that
it's
in
that.
place.
It's that, but Henry, it's one more
Integrity,
step.
too,
There we
yes.
go. There we go, right
Mhm,
there.
mhm.
It's the integrity. But it's the, what's that cliche? Would you do the right thing even if nobody was looking? would you
I like
stop
that
at that
one.
stop sign even though there's nobody in the neighborhood and it's 3 o'clock in the morning?
And as soon as you go, you run over a dog.
Oh yeah. Or there really is a police sitting there having coffee and donuts a block away and who saw you, you know. So some of that is like hugely important. Yeah, because you know cops will sneak up on you.
They do.
Okay. So would you do the right thing regardless? And when you're true to yourself, and I bring this out in some of the other webinars, wowforsmallbusinesses.com, is that you also are true to your clients, you're true to your business model, you're true to your business practices, and you're ethical. I mean, that, and you said the keyword integrity. You're creating integrity, and it doesn't have to be because someone's looking in. It has to be what you want for you as you go through, you know, your running of your business.
And you know, we talked about this integrity thing, and I told you a story about this one guy was just chewing me out, thinking I was this other company, and I let him go on and on. You have the wrong company. Couldn't say he was sorry enough, you know. You run into all these variables and all these factors that go along with having integrity and what you have. And a lot of people will put up stuff on your business through Yelp and through Google and
Better
some
Business Bureau.
yeah, some of
and
it's
all
not
that.
even real. They just
Facebook.
they have this.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people who have this interior just hatred of just writing the most ugliest things about you, and none of it's true. There was one that was really interesting that I got that I just could not make sense out of it. I went to this place and they were going to work on my computer, but I walked in, there was just a little kid up front, and I heard noise in the back, and I'm not about to go into this place. I went somewhere else. Well, my answer to him was that little kid was the customers that was sitting up front, staying out of the way. You could have just come down there and talked to us. And they write these
Yeah.
things that are like,
Right, because you
and they
have
give you like a 1 instead of
no
like,
half
Yeah.
a star.
Yeah.
Half a star is the worst. Okay, if it's
Half
three,
a
if it's
star.
3.5 or 4.5 stars, that's different. But just a half a star,
And sometimes
That's
some will
really
come
bad.
after you totally
that's
and
true.
get 2 or 3 of their friends to write obnoxious, not real, kind of bad reviews. And
agree.
I've seen that a couple of times, and even
Yeah.
Google will go back and just remove them.
Well, there's new companies out there. For those of you who don't know, I think one is it DuckDuckGo or something like that?
Uh-huh.
And then I saw another one that was a pop up, and I think it was just called Bad Reviews or something
What a
like that.
name, DuckDuckGo.
Yep. But remember, when you're in business, you want people to remember you.
Yes.
See how easy it was for us to remember
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo? And I think
What's the name of that business?
Yeah, what's the
DuckDuckGo. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, sometimes you have to look at what people are saying about you or about your business, even if it's not true, it's coming from what's going on in their minds. Okay, so one of the things that is really important is for you to be aware as a business owner and as a person to say, what's my limiting belief, and because of this belief, what kind of actions are following this belief, or not actions are following this belief? Why am I stagnated? Why do I have inertia? Why do I have anger management issues or frustration?
Anger management.
I mean, I had a client of mine who came in yesterday, and he's a client that I broke ties with a couple of years ago. Anyway, some stuff circled around, and he came back, and I got his taxes done, and he's just going over and over. So the other bookkeeper, Karen, she just charged me so much money, blah, blah, and he's going through all this, and on and on. This guy is a psychologist. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm already feeling for him, and he was just so genuine with me, and I appreciated that. He was like, "You've seen me in my raw, now and all like that." Yeah, he said my raw. And he's just going on, and he says, I don't want to find another accounting firm, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, I want to work with you. And I'm just like looking at him. I gave him this like blank stare. Mm-hmm. And when he finished, he said, so why don't you want to work with me?
After all that.
Yeah. And I was like, wow.
Well.
Do you really want to
yeah.
know? And so I laid it out to him. I was like, you didn't treat me like I had value. You terminated our contract abruptly. Okay, you just sent me an email one day and said, I don't want to pay your bill.
And that's it.
I was like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
And I said, I don't feel like you effectively communicated.
That's right.
So I ran it down to him, and I said, but as you can see, I obviously have no hard feelings, because otherwise I wouldn't have done your taxes. And he just kind of looked at me. He says, yeah. And he says, now this is how relationships go. He got into psychology mode. And he says, things happen, and it takes you, and he's drawing this beautiful graph. He says, and you're here, and I'm there. And we're marching along, which is true, and everything's fine. And we can continue to march along like that. And some relationships are like that. And then some take a nosedive, boom. And he has this like long hill picture of and he's just drawing it down and down till it's at the very edge of the paper. And then he circles it in black ink. He says, sometimes we get down to there. And then he starts drawing a hill upwards.
He was giving you some psychological help.
and says, and then we can get back up there. And I said, yeah, that's usually how a relationship that's going to be sustainable will work. You got to get to sometimes the ugly stuff and get over it. I said, however, in my relationship with you, I said, I've been over it. I said, truly, once again, I wouldn't have even talked to you again had I not been over it. And he was like, wow.
And it's interesting because
epiphany.
I don't know if you've done this, and I've done this through balancing all these different customers that come to you.
Uh-huh.
Those that, you pay forward on some of them, you let them go, and others $25, $35, simplistic little tiny amounts of money for a lot of work. They'll get all upset. You overcharged me like $25, and they'll go report you to the Better Business Bureau, write these doctoral dissertations on you. And it's like, those are the ones I say, okay, you're never coming back in my mind. So when they come back, I don't think I want to work. Oh, you're going to say that to me? Yeah, I don't want to work with you. Why? I just don't think I want to. I just don't think we're a fit.
Mhm.
Oh, I'll go to somebody else. Yeah, go to
Go
somebody
ahead,
else
go to somebody else.
who can help you
Mhm.
because I don't think I can. I'm
Mhm.
just not up to your standards.
Mhm. And I like how you put that, you
Mhm.
know, it's a change of your perception sometimes when people aren't worth your time or worthy to work with long
You
term.
wonder where do they go? Because anybody who would do that to you or me, we're like, you'll come back and pay them in threefold, or go along with however because they're helping you, or somebody's
Mhm.
really helping your business or doing something for you out of the ordinary. Like, gee, you did that for me. It's like, okay.
And you know what? So part of it is understanding that there are times you don't have a limiting belief, but who you're dealing with does.
Yes.
And that's one thing I had realized about this gentleman. He was a great guy. I mean, he still is a great guy. But his limiting belief was all over his perception of other professionals.
Yes, and his business acumen probably didn't coincide with the way you were wanting it to be
Right.
because you're doing a service for him and you want to stay on that level of doing that service and stuff, not go through all this other, I'm not paying you, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to just X you out and get you
Mhm.
out of there and do all those
Mhm.
kind of things.
Mhm.
That don't work.
Well, you know what I tell people, and as a business owner, you have to really think about this because it's part of you knowing your clients. You're not meant to have every client.
That's right. That's what I was saying.
Okay? And it's not a matter of coming from a limiting belief, but it's coming from the acknowledgement of who you want to work with, who you mesh with, who is a good, like you say, a good fit or not a good fit. But when you're starting out, your limiting belief is, I got to take anybody because I've got to stay in business. And I get that. I did that. And I think we all do that. It's
And then
because
after a while you
we're
say, "Why was
desperate
I?"
at
Yeah,
first.
yeah.
We want to get our business going.
And get everybody you can.
Mm-hmm. But then as you start to mature and grow, this is where you start learning to be a little more discerning.
And selective too.
Very selective.
Mhm.
So when you go to WOW for small businesses, if you look at, let's go up a little bit to blame game. Whoop. The other way. Up. There we go. Blame game. You can't play the blame game by yourself. Okay? So think of this when you're thinking about limiting beliefs, okay? Who are you blaming for your situation in your business? Are you, or and I get this a lot with the tax situation. Oh my God, I owe how much? You couldn't have possibly did that right. And I was like, I'm like, well, first of all, I know the tax laws and the computer helped with the adding, multiplying, dividing.
Yes, that's perfect.
And even if not, back in the day when I had to do it with a calculator and by hand, I still knew how to add,
two or three
subtract.
times to make sure.
Exactly. So think about when you're blaming someone, where your limiting belief is coming from.
And you're the one who brought the numbers and the
Mhm.
all the documentation to support what you're doing.
That's right.
So how? And I know this, and sometimes, like you say, the blame game. Now, sometimes I'll say to myself, I take full responsibility. I was responsible for that one, and I'll blame myself because it's true. It's like I'm the one who got myself into this, and I'm the one who got to figure my way out.
That's him being genuine, isn't
yes,
it?
and if you don't do that, and you try to blame somebody else, and you say, okay, Carla, it was because of you that I just didn't get my act together with some of these numbers, and if you would just do it right,